Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the WA Training Awards webinar for organisation applicants. Thanks for joining us this morning. My name is Kirsty. I'm from the WA Training Awards team and I'll be running the session today. You'll have noticed that your microphones are on mute. That's just to avoid any background noise while we play videos and just have a chat. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to just pop them in the chat box and you don't have to wait for me to ask, you just pop them in as you think of them and then we'll answer them for you. If there's any technical issues, we will be sending out a recording of this later, so you definitely won't miss anything, don't worry. I'll be referring to some links throughout the session, but we won't post them until the very end. We'll give you a big list of all the links that we mention and we'll also email them out to you. That way you don't have to jump around, you can just sort of listen to the session. So now that we're ready to go, I want to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we live and work and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I'd like to introduce our panel members. Joining me today, we have Liz Mitchell from Taylor Weir International School of Hairdressing. So Taylor Weir won WA Small Training Provider of the Year in 2022 and also the Bronze Award at the Australian Training Awards. Taylor Weir also won the same award in 2013. So Liz will be sharing some perspectives and insights into the application process from someone who's been through it a number of times.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us, Liz.
Thank you.
We also have Rob Mitchell. So you have the same last name, but
not relatives.
Not relatives. So Rob's an experienced judging panel member. So he'll be able to provide some insights into how to prepare an award-winning application and how to stand out to the judging panel. So thanks for joining us, Rob.
No problems.
So both panel members are very experienced and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. So please let us know if you have any. So the purpose of today's session is to walk through the WA Training Awards process, to outline where you can find all the information that you need, to provide some tips to help you prepare your application, and also just to remind everyone that the Training Awards team is here and happy to help answer any questions that you have along the way. So please get in touch with us as often as you need, call, email, whatever you like. We're happy to help. We'll just start with playing a little video, just a little background about the Training Awards.
Welcome to the WA Training Awards.
A very, very special and warm welcome to each of you to this, the 2022 WA Training Awards.
The WA Training Awards recognises excellence in the vocational education and training sector. The award shines a light on WA's brightest stars, encouraging excellence in WA's vet sector through the success stories of winners and finalists. Recognised as the best in the state, individual award winners take home $3,000, plus exposure to a range of professional development opportunities. Organisation winners are regarded as industry leaders, raising their profile within the community and acknowledging their commitment to providing quality training in the state. The WA Training Awards is about discovering ambassadors to champion our vet sector. Real stories from real people, sharing their training experiences to inspire others to pursue a training pathway. There are 13 categories for individual and organisation applicants. Applications are processed through a judging panel made up of industry professionals. Winners are announced and celebrated at the awards ceremony held in September. Individual winners have the opportunity to compete for an applicable award at the Australian Training Awards. The WA Training Awards is a truly rewarding experience, and our team is here to help you achieve your goals.
So as you can see, there are lots of reasons to apply for a WA Training Award. Firstly, there's the recognition as the best in the state from your peers, from your stakeholders, from your industry. You may have the opportunity to represent WA at the Australian Training Awards. Throughout the process, you'll receive publicity and promotional opportunities at a state and national level. It's a great opportunity to increase your profile to potential students or employees, other organisations, whoever your target sort of market is. There's great networking opportunities at both a state and a national level. And also there's some professional development opportunities for those involved in the application process, because you're learning to recognise your organisation's strengths and present them, writing selection criteria, preparing a video. There's a lot of skills sort of gained from that experience. I'll just go back. So I just want to ask you a question, Liz.
Yes.
So I've mentioned that Taylor Weir has applied for and won a number of WA training awards over the years. So could you please share what winning a training award has meant to your organisation and what opportunities it has resulted in?
Sure. So if I just reflect on last year's win, it really, first of all, the process of writing the application unpacks your whole business. So it's a really good way to unpack your business and have a look at areas that either you need to improve on, or you're doing really well, or I should be doing more of this, because it's sort of, you have to answer all the criteria. And then secondly, what it has done for our business, in our industry, it has solidified that what we are doing for our apprentice training is at the top of its pillar.
Yeah.
And we really expose that win for our trade and our industry.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. Thank you. So now you're convinced that it's worth applying for a training award, and there's lots of benefits. I'll just go through some key pieces of information and what the journey ahead looks like for organisations. So as you'll be aware, written applications are due by 5 p.m. Friday, 28th of April. From there, the Training Awards team will review applications, then judges will shortlist the applications and select finalists and a winner. If required, judges may request to do an interview or site visit, but they may be able to use your application and video submission to make their decision. All applicants will be notified if they're successful or not. The Minister for Training will announce all finalists, and then everyone gets to attend a presentation dinner in September, which is a really lovely, event to celebrate everybody's achievements. From there, then we go on to the Australian Training Awards, which is in November in Tasmania this year. And then our winners of the WA categories will be able to go on next year to be on the judging panels for their category. So you get to sort of hear the stories of next year's applicants and be involved in that process, which is really nice. So what we've done is had a look at the whole process. That it can be overwhelming to know where to start with something like this. So we've just tried to map it out in 5 easy steps so that you can walk away from today with a plan of attack. So step 1 is to just check the eligibility requirements. They're different for each category. They're available on the website on the Organisations tab and also in the application guide. Again, we'll give you the links for those at the end. The eligibility criteria is set by the Australian Training Awards, and that's so that the state and territory winners are eligible to be entered directly into the national competition. So we don't set those, the ATAs do. Some examples of eligibility requirements include, if you're interested in the Employer of the Year categories, your head office must be located in WA, and the training you provide to staff needs to be nationally recognised. If you're interested in the training provider categories, your organisation must deliver the majority of training in WA and be an RTO whose core business is the delivery of VET. So applications are a lot of work, so we just want to make sure that you tick all those eligibility boxes before you start. So our second step is to check the conditions of entry. There's some things that impact on your application, for example, word limits, some key dates around, things that you might need to be available for, requirements around the Australian Training Awards. So yeah, again, just make sure you tick all of those boxes, because you'll have to tick a box in your application that says that you're agreeing to those conditions. And if you have any questions, we do have some FAQs on our website. And if that doesn't answer, any particular queries that you have, just get in touch with us and we're happy to help. Do we have any questions so far? If you have any questions, please just pop them in the chat box and we can answer those for you. So step 3 is to review the application guide. This kind of has all the information that you need for your process going forward. So it has all the selection criteria, the types of documents that you'll need to include with your application. For example, you'll all need to include an endorsement from your CEO or managing director. You'll also have to include a talent release form. So templates for all of those are available on the website. It also includes all of the details that you need for your video submission. But again, if you have questions, let us know. Our tips at this stage are to download a practice template from our website. So that's just a Word document that has all the selection criteria. It's just an easy place to start brainstorming your responses. And then from there, you'll be able to copy and paste that information into the online portal once you're ready to submit. What else? We also recommend using some strong examples to make your points. Another good tip is to contact the industry training council that's relevant to your organisation. So they have guidance relating to the current training and workforce requirements faced by your industry. So that's really good to incorporate into your application. And then, some other tips include using unique or standout qualities to explain what your organisation does, some qualitative data and other evidence of success, how well your organisation understands its clients, detailed processes for continuous improvement, and how you represent best practice in the training sector. So I have a question for you, Liz.
Yes.
Do you have any tips for how to approach answering the selection criteria?
Sure. So what we did is we would dot point each category and come up with what we thought was the most relevant to go in, because you are very much limited to words. So we really we had a big focus on our students' journey.
Yeah.
So that was our main focus, is how we go above and beyond what they get in their everyday training at Taylor Weir. We do a lot of community events, and we made sure that we have a holistic approach to how we do our training for our students, and that's what we really focused on. Yeah. So it's breaking down, and this is why I go back to it really makes you unpack your business. You just got to break down everything you do within your business and then rebuild it up into what you see as the best part of how you deliver to your students.
Okay, that's great. And Rob, as a judge, are there particular things that you look for or that stand out to you in an application?
Exactly as Liz mentioned, it's the quality of data. We want to understand, what makes you different from the rest. It's fine to say, we train students. We do train 50 students a week. But what makes that different to anybody else, and how is that better? And also what impacts you have on the community as well. Okay. Just little things like that. It's not just reading the same application, it's something different, and you're proving that you're better than the rest.
Okay, yep, great advice, thank you. So step 4 with the application process is to prepare your video submission. So videos should just be created in-house on a handheld device such as an iPad or a phone. Judges are not looking for a professionally produced video or high production quality. The video is just an extra opportunity for you to showcase your organisation and why you should win the award. So consider the video format that will best profile your organisation. So that could be an interview or using a voiceover with some video footage. But we just recommend planning the video before you hit record and maybe work from a script. There's also some criteria, like it has to be a maximum of 3 minutes long, and just make sure it's clear and audible. So just to remember that this isn't a promo video. You're not, showing, what your organisation sells, or it's just to support the selection criteria. So it's just another opportunity to do that. So some ideas could be focusing on how your programs are excellent in the context of the selection criteria, or interviewing somebody who can share an experience or a quality about your organisation that has particular relevance to the criteria. And then again, make sure your file size is a max of 5 GB and use a supported file type. So I'll ask you another question, Liz. What approach did you take to preparing your video submission?
Okay, so we interviewed our students, and very raw and organic is what we went for. We didn't pre-script. We didn't try and say, oh, talk about this, this, or this. We asked a series of questions, and they really spoke from the heart, because I think they really do enjoy their journey at Taylor Weir. We also selected a diverse range of students. So we wouldn't just choose the ones that are necessarily, at the top of their games, also the ones that needed the extra support or the ones that were doing our community events. We made sure we showcased the diverse range of our students.
Okay, yep, that's great. And Rob, do you have any recommendations for things that organisations should include or avoid?
Probably things to include, as Liz sort of mentioned, you want to see and speak to the students. You want to understand, it's fine for you to write on paper and say how wonderful and amazing you are, but we want to see the students and how they, I guess, agree with what your practice is. One of the, I'll say funniest, but actually one of the best videos we had was one of the people put his phone in his phone holder in his car and was just talking to his phone. It doesn't need to be an elaborate production. It just needs to be about you and about your organisation. So.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So once you've prepared everything, you're on to the final stage, which is submitting your application. So what we'll do is just give you a little video, which is just a brief walkthrough of our online portal in case you haven't seen it. So it just sort of shows start to end what you need to do.
Submitting your application through our website is easy. Log into your account or register. Start a new application. Choose your category and name your application. Once each tab is complete, you can save and move on to the next. Fill in your details on the Applicant Details tab, remembering to agree to the terms at the bottom of the page before continuing. For individuals only, complete the details of your training in the Training Details tab and ensure that you have ticked any required boxes. Organisations can skip this tab. Complete your responses to the criteria, pasting your responses in from your template, and on the final tab, attach all of the required documents to support your application. Once complete, you can review your application, and once happy, click Submit. And good luck.
A few last tips for you at this stage. If you're going to refer to any documents in your application, just include a copy in the attachment section to support your claim. So for example, if you mentioned that you've attended an event, you've won an award, just include a photo or a copy of that. It's just really good to support your claim that way. You can also include statistics, testimonials, graphs. As long as you're not exceeding the maximum number of attachments, the more evidence, the better. We also recommend getting your team to proofread the content in your application and make sure you have everything ready to go before you even open the online portal. That way you can just copy and paste and attach everything, and that last step is nice and simple. Do we have any questions?
Yeah. From Tennille from Headland Senior High School. Coming from a high school, is there anyone we can chat to about making sure we are entering into the right category? Industry Collaboration Award, for example.
So if you've got questions about which category you should enter, if you want to give us a call, we can talk that through with you and just go through the criteria for each of the categories and just see which has the best fit for you. So please feel free to get in touch with us after this and we can have a chat. Any other questions? If you've got any questions at all, please just pop them in the chat. I'll ask a couple of questions to you guys at this point. So Liz, what do you think it was about Taylor Weir's story that stood out?
I really do believe it was what we give our students and the connections, and it's the journey. So our students begin as apprentices, then they leave, they finish their training, then they become employers, then they send their apprentices to us, and then eventually they come back as a trainer and assessor. So we have such a connection, and we put a lot into our industry. We're very involved in WA hairdressing and barbering industries. We put a lot in, and we just hold on to those connections. And I really do believe that we give our students a lot in that sense. It keeps them connected to Taylor Weir, and that was our story that we pitched.
Yeah, that's great. I can see why that would have resonated.
Yeah.
And Rob, from all your experience reviewing applications, are there any main pieces of advice you would have for applicants in terms of putting their best foot forward?
Probably the best part about it is because there are so many different categories and so many different organisations that have applied previously, there actually really isn't a particular way to go about it. We've had hairdressers, we've had swimming coaches, we've had construction companies, we've had all sorts, and it's really just showcasing what you do and how you do it. And as you say, Liz, that journey is exactly what we're looking for, and to see how, you know, someone that walks in the door as a potential student then goes on what they do and what they achieve afterwards.
Yeah, so sort of the whole journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. So once you've submitted your application, any other questions at this point from anybody? Nope. Okay. If you have any, feel free to pop them in the chat or email us later. Once you've submitted your application and finalists are all announced, it's then on to celebration time at the presentation dinner. So this is an opportunity to formally recognise all of our finalists and to have a big celebration with your staff, with your stakeholders. So sometimes we'll have organisations book out a whole table of 10 and, come along and, really be able to celebrate their achievements. It can also be a really good networking opportunity because there's lots of other high achievers there as well. So, it's a really wonderful evening. Then after the the WA Training Awards process is complete, we then have the Australian Training Awards. This year, as I mentioned, it's in Tasmania. So for organisations that win a WA Training Award, they are then shortlisted. So after winning a WA Training Award, organisations are shortlisted by a national judging panel. So the judging panel there will select 3 finalists to interview virtually. So that will be done usually in the start of November, and they'll determine a winner from there. And then the 3 finalists are flown over in this year to Tasmania, and the winner will be announced at a formal awards ceremony there as well. There's also 3 direct entry categories, as you can see on your screen there. So for these categories, you apply directly to the Australian Training Awards. If you have a look at their website, that will have all of the eligibility criteria for each of those categories. And their application process closes on the 31st of May. So you've got a bit longer to work on that if any of those are of interest to you. I'll also mention that you can apply for a WA Training Award as well as one of the Australian Training Award direct entry categories. So you can, sort of double your possibilities. So if you have any questions about that, let us know. So that concludes the session today. I've summarised a few key points here, which are just ensure that you're eligible and that you understand the conditions of entry. Plan your video submission before hitting record. Think about the structure of your application, make sure it's clear and concise. Address all of the considerations under each criteria because that will give you the best opportunity to respond. Provide very solid examples and evidence. Just tell your organisation's story and make sure you proofread your application. So please submit everything to us by 5 p.m. Friday, 28th of April. But we do get a lot of applications last minute. So I just would recommend not leaving it till the final sort of minute, because just in case there's any issues with the website, give yourself that opportunity. So thank you so much for joining us today. Any questions at all after this, please feel free to send us an email or give us a call. We're going to give you all of the links now that I've mentioned throughout the session, and we'll also email them to you. We'll also send you a copy of the webinar once we've had a chance to upload that to YouTube. So that will be next week. A big thank you to Rob and Liz. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your insights and advice. Enjoy your day, everybody, and good luck with your applications.